The market is not your biggest enemy. The economy is not your biggest enemy. The news is not your biggest enemy. Your impulse is. One emotional click can destroy months of discipline. One revenge trade can erase weeks of profits. One moment of impatience can undo years of learning. Most traders spend their lives searching for the perfect strategy, but the traders who survive understand a deeper truth. You do not lose because you lack knowledge. You lose because you fail to control yourself. This audiobook is about mastering the force that quietly destroys accounts every single day: impulse. Because when you master your impulse, you master your decisions. And when you master your decisions, you master the market. Remember this throughout the entire audiobook. Discipline creates profits. Impulse creates regret. Like, share, subscribe now. There is a moment, a very small moment. Most people never notice it, but that moment determines whether you make money or lose money, whether you grow or self-destruct, whether you become a disciplined trader or remain trapped in the same painful cycle for years. That moment happens right before the click, right before you enter the trade, right before you double your position, right before you chase the candle, right before you break your own rules, right before you tell yourself a lie. And that is exactly where this chapter begins. Not with charts, not with indicators, not with strategies, with you. Because the market is not reaching through the screen and forcing you to do anything. The market isn't controlling your hand. The market isn't controlling your mouse. The market isn't controlling your emotions. You are, or at least you should be. The hard truth is that most traders do not lose because they lack information. They lose because they lack control. That's the key. Read that again. Most traders do not lose because they lack information. They lose because they lack control. The internet is filled with free trading information. Books are everywhere. Videos are everywhere. Courses are everywhere. Strategies are everywhere. Information is not the problem. Impulse is. You know what happens. You've seen it before. You have a plan. You have rules. You have a setup. You tell yourself you're going to wait. Then the market starts moving. Suddenly, your heart beats faster. Suddenly, fear appears. Suddenly, excitement appears. Suddenly, patience disappears. And before you know it, click. You enter too early. Click. You increase position size. Click. You move your stop loss. Click. You ignore your plan. And afterward, regret. Always regret. Because impulse feels good for a moment, discipline feels good for a lifetime. Most people choose the moment. Professionals choose the lifetime. That's the difference. You have a choice. Always. You have a choice between reaction and response. You have a choice between emotion and discipline. You have a choice between impulse and patience. The problem is that many traders act as if they don't. They talk like victims. The market tricked me. The market trapped me. The market took my money. No, the market offered an opportunity. You made a decision. Responsibility is uncomfortable, but responsibility is power. The moment you accept responsibility, everything changes. Because if your actions created the problem, your actions can create the solution. That's the key. If the market is the problem, you're powerless. If your behavior is the problem, you're powerful. Think about that. Most people want to blame something outside themselves because it feels easier, but blaming gives away control. Ownership creates control, and control is exactly what we're after. The title of this chapter is not an accident. Control the click before the click controls you. Because every click has consequences. Every click is a vote. Every click is a declaration. Every click says something about who you are, not who you want to be, who you actually are. Your results are not created by your intentions. They are created by your actions. Everyone intends to be disciplined. Everyone intends to follow the plan. Everyone intends to manage risk. But intention doesn't matter. Execution matters. The market pays for execution, not intention. That's the key. A disciplined trader is not someone who knows the rules. A disciplined trader is someone who follows the rules. Big difference, massive difference. One creates confidence, the other creates frustration. Let's talk about confidence. Most people misunderstand confidence completely. They think confidence comes from winning. It doesn't. Confidence comes from trust, and trust comes from consistency. If you constantly break your own rules, how can you trust yourself? You can't. If you constantly act emotionally, how can you trust yourself? You can't. If you constantly sabotage your own plans, how can you trust yourself? You can't. Self-trust is earned, just like trust with another person. Imagine someone who lies to you every day. Would you trust them? Of course not. Now ask yourself a difficult question. How many times have you lied to yourself? How many times have you promised patience and then acted impulsively? How many times have you promised discipline and then ignored your rules? How many times have you promised risk management and then increased risk? Be honest, because honesty is where transformation begins. You cannot fix what you refuse to face. That's the key. You cannot fix what you refuse to face. Most traders don't have a market problem. They have a self-awareness problem. They don't study their own behavior. They don't examine their own decisions. They don't review their emotional mistakes. They only look at charts. But the chart is not where the real battle happens. The real battle happens in the mind. The real battle happens before the click. The real battle happens in that tiny moment where you decide whether emotion or discipline will win. And every day, one of them wins. The question is, which one? You have a choice, always. You have a choice when fear appears. You have a choice when greed appears. You have a choice when frustration appears. You have a choice when excitement appears. Emotions are normal. The goal is not to eliminate emotions. The goal is to stop obeying them. That's the key. Emotions can speak, but they don't get to vote. Imagine treating every emotion like a salesperson. The salesperson can present an argument, but you don't have to buy. Fear says, get out now. Greed says, add more. FOMO says, don't miss this move. Revenge says, win it back. The question is simple. Are you listening to your plan or are you listening to the salesperson? Because one creates consistency, the other creates chaos. And chaos is expensive. Very expensive. Some traders lose money because of bad analysis. Most traders lose money because of emotional execution. There is a difference. A disciplined loss is acceptable. An impulsive loss is not. A disciplined loss teaches. An impulsive loss repeats. A disciplined loss builds skill. An impulsive loss builds frustration. That's why professionals focus on process, not outcomes. They understand something powerful. A good process can produce a losing trade. A bad process can produce a winning trade. Short-term results lie. Long-term behavior tells the truth. That's the key. Judge yourself by your discipline, not by a single trade. Judge yourself by your consistency, not by a single outcome. Judge yourself by your ability to follow rules, not by temporary profits. Because anyone can get lucky, but not everyone can stay disciplined. And discipline is what survives. Discipline survives losing streaks. Discipline survives volatility. Discipline survives uncertainty. Discipline survives fear. Discipline survives greed. That's why discipline is the real edge, not the strategy, not the indicator, not the secret setup. Discipline. Always discipline. And every time your hand moves toward that mouse, every time your finger approaches that button, every time your emotions begin demanding action, ask yourself one question. Is this my plan talking or my impulse? That single question can save you thousands, maybe tens of thousands, maybe years of frustration. Because one bad click ruins months. One impulsive decision ruins weeks of discipline. One emotional moment creates a chain reaction of mistakes. Protect the click. Protect the decision. Protect the process. Because when you control the click, you begin controlling your future. And once you begin controlling your future, everything changes. That is where true trading mastery begins, not on the chart, inside yourself. And in the next section, we're going to go even deeper into the hidden cost of impulsive decisions and why most traders never realize how much a single emotional action is actually costing them. The lesson is simple, but it can change everything. Your greatest edge is not a secret indicator. It is not a special strategy. It is not insider information. Your greatest edge is self-control. The market will always test your patience. The market will always tempt your emotions. The market will always offer opportunities to act impulsively. But every time you choose discipline over emotion, you become stronger. Every time you follow your plan, you become more consistent. Every time you resist the bad click, you protect your future. Remember, one bad click ruins months. One disciplined decision builds years. If this message resonated with you, commit to one promise today. I will not let impulse make decisions that discipline must live with. Carry that sentence into every trading session. Master your impulse. Master your decisions. Master the market.